how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are here for the United Rugby Championship, Glasgow taking on the Stormers. Now, both of these sides have got off to decent success at the start of the competition. As you can see from the table, the Stormers sitting at the top of the bunch. They have had 2 bonus point wins, although into this contest they actually come in as underdogs. So it will be intriguing to see how they go in this game up against Glasgow, who are sitting 7th. They've had 1 win over Leinster. They had their loss last week, but they are looking to redeem themselves here, keep those points flowing. Both of these sides love scoring tries. I have a feeling it's going to be a high-scoring game. It should be a very exciting one. But looking through at the odds that I just mentioned, as you can see, the Stormers coming in as $3.30 underdogs, so they are not really expected to win this game, although the table would say otherwise. They've got a very strong side. When you look through at their starting lineup, there is a lot of potential. Same with Glasgow, though, when we do look at their team. Looking through at Glasgow, Ollie Kebble, Johnny Matthews, and Xander Fagerson as the front row. Then in the lock and jaw, it is Greg Peterson and Richie Gray. Matt Fagerson at 6, Rory Darge number 7, and then Sione Vailanu at number 8. So a massive 4-pack. Of course, a couple international Scottish players coming back in after the Rugby World Cup. And as we see this competition progress, we'll see more and more players added back in for their respective sides. George Horn at number 9 with Jordan as the 10. McDowell at number 12. Sione Tuipulotu on his outside. He is certainly one to be watching out for throughout this game. Rowe out on the left wing. Concilieri out on the right. He had a very good game last week, or in fact the week prior, up against Leinster. And Ollie Smith to close out the Glasgow starting lineup for the Stormers. It is Alistair Vermaak at number 1, Joseph Dweber and Nederling Fouché as the number 3, Ben Dixon at 4, and Ruben van Heerden as the number 5. Willie Engelbrecht at 6. He's an enforcer. He's a physical individual. We're hoping to be strong in this game up against the Glasgow Warriors. Ivan Ruiz, I should say, at number 7, and Morabi to close out the Stormers 4-pack. It will be Yanchis at number 9 with Duplessis at 10. Sasha Ngomezulu at number 12 with Loader on his outside. Lillian Zas, Angelo Davids, the 7 superstar, and also Warakalant as the number 15. We have got in the chat there on Spring Back a lot of good, or a lot of memories, I think that is, and good to be back. Says Brandon, welcome in, and good evening, Hamish. I've missed your delectable voice, darling, says Natasha Barrett. And there, and it is hugely appreciate you guys being here. At the end of the day, we have finished the World Cup, which was, I guess, the pinnacle of the rugby world, and now we've got 4 years that we are going to be back doing the URC, doing the Gallagher Premiership, the 7-6 Nation Super Rugby, but it is absolutely awesome to have you here. Once again, Natasha, we have got Yarnlu in chat. It said, Stormers, good luck, boys. Are you doing any other games this weekend? We plan to, I believe. We've got some of the URC tomorrow night, if I am correct. Also, alongside that, we are doing Wales versus the Barbarians, which I think actually overlaps with the URC. So we may just be doing the Barbars game. Alongside that, the day after, I believe the Lions are playing. So we are going to be doing that game on Monday morning. And Hamish, the Springboks, had their Cape Town Trophy tour today. And we are children's lined the streets to catch a glimpse. So now we can turn our focus to our regional teams. So Stormers all the way, says Denzel. Because I believe, if I'm not wrong, the South African international players, they've still got a couple more weeks, don't they, until they join back in with the rest of the sides. So they'll get a little bit more rest, and then when those players come back, the URC sides will certainly know about it, because there's some very dangerous players who make their way back in. For the Stormers in particular, you know, their backline's going to end up even more stacked. And it's good to see your face again after a long time, says Brandon. And yeah, it is good to have you back on the channel, Brandon, as well. That's the thing with the URC. I feel like I've got a lot better chance of reading all the messages, which is great news, because some of those Rugby World Cup live streams, they were hectic. But now we get that little bit more of reading the chat as well as calling the game, rather than just our brain in overload, which is a nice change. I would say, and Stormers bring the cup to South Africa. We are the champs, and strong together behind you, boys, says Marius. And also we have got their much deserved break for the Bok players, says Sighton in there. Yeah, I mean, they've worked extremely hard. We've seen what they've been able to do out on the field. So it's nice that they get that little bit more time off before they have to jump back into their franchise teams. And yeah, like I said, once they do, people will certainly know about it. But the results that we've seen so far from the Stormers, they have been pretty successful throughout this URC competition. 2 wins from 2 and alongside that, receiving the bonus point in both of their games. Now, those bonus points could be absolutely crucial in the later stages of the competition when it comes to your home and away finals. The Stormers want to be right there in Cape Town. They had a good win over the Lions. Boy, it was close, though, on that first week of the URC competition. Then they had a good win over the Scarlets. Something that this game could go relatively similar, but I believe that the Stormers side, they'll have a bit more of a challenge with Glasgow, definitely with those international players returning. I can understand why Glasgow are favourites, but we cannot count out the Stormers outfit because they have shown in a close game, they did it all throughout the last year of the URC as well. In a close game, they know how to win, and that's what they'll be hoping to do here for Glasgow. They had their very successful win over Leinster. Now, I will mention that Leinster, they were missing a few of those international players, but that is the way that the draw was. Glasgow got them early, and they made the most of it, winning that game with the bonus point. They did then lose to Connacht, though, in their next contest. So another Irish side getting a bit of redemption, 34 points to 26. But this Glasgow outfit, when you look through at their team, they are more than capable of going far in this competition. They made it to the semi-finals last year. They want to go all the way for 2023. We have got there in the chat. Hi guys, good to be back from Arthur. He's also gifted a membership in there as well. So thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciated. It's great to have you guys all here, all the regulars back on the channel for the URC. Hello, Hamish. Where's your mum? New Zealand's biggest Stormers fan. I believe she is up. I actually saw her just before this live stream, but yeah, she hasn't watched many Stormers games, Grant, but as you know, biggest fan of the Stormers, of course. Do you think, or do you feel a bit like Cinderella after the ball? Says Joseph. I don't think so. I feel like a lot of people would assume now that the World Cup's over that we'll be like, we're not going to do many videos. We're gonna take a couple days off. It's not really the case. I've been filming videos all week. Unfortunately, for most of the stuff that we've filmed, it's like a long-term, like, series type thing. So I can't really release any of it yet because I haven't filmed enough of it yet. But yeah, we've been busy. We've been doing quite a bit. I don't think I've had many opportunities to just sit and relax. Even throughout this week, I haven't had a great sleep schedule. So we'll get there in the end. We've got cricket today that I'm going to be playing. Hopefully the weather stays nice. If it rains, I'll be very sad because I do enjoy me cricket. We have good there, Hamish. Do you think you are well rested from barely sleeping throughout the Rugby World Cup? Not at all. I don't think I've managed a full night's sleep since the Rugby World Cup. I think I've broken my brain, but that's all right. At the end of the day, it was going to happen with the sleep schedule that we had. You know, Ben Smith from Rugby Pass, is the biggest hater of the Springboks, says LJ the man. He is, but people always get confused and think that that's actually Ben Smith, the ex-All Black, which it is not. So, yeah, be sure that people know that it's not Ben Smith, because, like, that's the thing. He gets a lot of hate, the All Black Ben Smith, because people think that he's that guy, but he's not. We have got there, Hamish. I haven't been on any rugby World Cup live stream. I've been watching the boring TV commentary. I say your commentary is very good. Then the TV commentary, yes. Can you read my message? I haven't said that it's so long, says Brandon. And also we have got there, did Munster draw with Benetton, says cited. If that was there an earlier game tonight, or are we talking last? Hang on, we got the table here. Yeah, no, they did. The funny thing is, Munster is so good at getting draws, and they've had it many times throughout this URC competition, but they are one of those sides that when it's very close, it just doesn't quite seem to go their way, or at least the way that they want. I know it's not the ex-All Black, so I said from Rugby Pass, says LJ, and also we go there, glad they've been gifted membership. This World Cup was something else. Arthur, you're a hun, says Natasha Barrett. And also we have got there, he's just been from accounts, says Adult Entertainment. They are just showing the starting lineups. We are very close to the start of this game. Do let me know your score predictions in the chat as well, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know who you think will be walking away with this victory. Like I said, it is actually the case of the underdog, the Stormers, heading into this game, even though they have won 2 games from 2. Will they be able to make it 3 in a row? Can't wait for the build time video, says Grant. Well, we've had it all filmed. It's an interesting one. I feel like there's a lot of editing that needs to take place, but yeah, hopefully within the next couple of weeks, that's going to be popping out. Probably on the entertainment channel, I would say. It's probably not PG enough for the main channel. We are going to Stormers by 16, says LJ the man. It's a good call, but at the end of the day, it's possible, isn't it? You look at some of these Stormers players, Willie Engelbrecht in their loose ball trio alongside Evan Ruiz as well as Marabe. Like, they have got physicality on their side. On up against what would be considered as a slightly Scottishified Glasgow side. After the amount of players that have returned from international duty, they are looking to make their mark here once more. Oh, yeah, okay, there. What's up, Hamish? Glad to see you still streaming. After the World Cup finishes, Xander. Yeah, we've still got quite a few live streams on the cards. I believe we've got at least 3 games, if not 4 or 5 per weekend. This weekend we have got the Barbarians versus Wales game. Unfortunately, that does overlap with quite a few URC games that we would have covered had it not been on at the same time. Depending on cricket and depending on whether or not it absolutely buckets down with rain will depend on what we have on the channel tonight, because we have got a couple options of either maybe the rugby league, or alongside that we may be able to do the women's game that has taken place between New Zealand and England. So we are waiting to see what the weather brings. But yeah, if I'm not playing cricket, hopefully we will be able to get one of those done. I don't want Rugby World Cup to end. It was so good, says Brandon. And also the Blue Guys by 3, says Cited. Good morning, Hamish. How's the atmosphere in New Zealand after the loss in the final, says Morley Grange. I feel like it's not as bad as some people think that it would be. Like, at the end of the day, the All Blacks making it to the final, I think, surprised a lot of people. But, of course, there's still some that are blaming the TMO and everything like that. But at the end of the day, like, it was 1 point. Like, just get one of those kicks over. New Zealand could have walked away with the victory. So I don't think the TMO, even if it was, like, poor throughout the Rugby World Cup competition, can be blamed solely for anything that has happened throughout the competition. Stormers by more than 20, says Arthur. At the moment, Ollie Kibble driven backwards as the match has got underway. Glasgow in position, 40 metres out from their own line. It's Xander Fagerson who makes his way forward. Now Horn going back across to this left-hand side. Sione Tuipulotu, wide cut out pass. Cancellieri now down the wing. Nice run. In fact, it's going to be on the other wing for Kyle Rowe. And it's the penalty to the Stormers, straight into the breakdown. Great bit of work from Watercalant. We have got there, do you like Brendan Pickerel? I mean, at the end of the day, like, I don't mind, like, a majority of the referees around, well, rugby. Like, yes, there are some that are inconsistent, and that's what rugby as a whole need to work on. I'm not saying that's the case for the final, though, before everyone goes, oh, yeah, you salty boy. It's just, like, for this World Cup, at the very start, we said we hope it's not determined by referee inconsistencies, and I think the quarterfinals were the perfect example of games that were refereed in completely different ways. But yeah, well, rugby, they seem like they're trying to fix things, so that's good at least. And Kiwi Oz test match, please. And you know, your dad, please, I'm begging, says Nazi Williams there. It would be quite awesome to be able to do it. So hopefully, fingers crossed, if we are able to, although it is his birthday, or it was his birthday yesterday, so I think he might be going out for a birthday tea around that same time. So I may be going with them as well. But hopefully we can do something rugby league. Maybe even if it's Papua New Guinea versus Fiji tomorrow, because I am very keen on covering that game. I actually wanted to do the whole of the Pacific Championship, but there's just been a really bad overlap. That kick is dead from the Stormers. A little bit too much juice on that one. Rowe just watches it go out. And now we'll go back to where he kicked it from. As Barbarians, best of the Southern Hemisphere players, says Xander. Not quite, no. They've got a few decent players sneaking in there. I see there's a few Kiwis. Joe Moody returning from his long injury. He's going to be available for it. Sean Stevenson slotting in there. A little bit of a midfield combo. I think it's Lenikatel. And also, was it Hunter Paisami in there as well? There's quite a few Australians sneaking in there. Not too many South Africans throughout the lineup that I can think of off the top of my head, but also a couple Fijians in there. Ravatamunda out on that left wing. And also we have got there, that's very small try area. It is. It is very small here in Glasgow. And then there's another ground. I'm trying to remember if it's Murrayfield, I think it is. That's just huge. Like, you could fit a whole rugby game just in their in-goal area. So they must have got all the budget for the grass rather than Glasgow. That will be a free kick to Glasgow, though, at scrum time. They'll consider that as a mini win going up against Vermark, Nedeling Foucher and Joseph Dweber. And also we've got there, good question, because I've been checking YouTube for updates. And some have been vile towards the All Blacks, says Denzel. And also we've got there, sorry, Glasgow by 3, I meant, says it was there from LJ. And also looks rather cold at the stadium. Yeah, it's normally pretty chilly around this time of year in Glasgow. But it's nice when we don't have rain. I think it's the best way of putting it for this URC, because in rainy games normally, yes, it goes down to the wire, but we don't quite see that same free-flowing rugby that both of these sides do like to play. The South Africans are either celebrating or playing in the URC. so not available for the Barbarians, says Grant. Very true. I feel like a few of those other... Because when does the Japanese League One start? That must be still a few months away, isn't it? I think it starts at a very similar time to Super Rugby and the Six Nations. And also we've got there, when are they going to release the Super Rugby squads for 2024? Normally it is near the end of the year, so I think that some stage throughout November we will end up seeing them more than likely, which will be exciting. Find out exactly who is going where. Of course, a very new look Super Rugby competition for a lot of the squads. I know that for the Australian sides, they are losing abundance of players to overseas clubs. Same as a lot of Kiwis. Lester Whananoku, Moonga, Barrett, Sam Kane, now taking a sabbatical in Japan. George Horn about to feed this ball. And 5 minutes into this contest, we are still sitting near that halfway line. Neither side really getting that momentum early. It was the kick attempt from the Stormers to put it in behind, but just a little bit overcooked now. Horn going off to the short side. Jordan gets it off to Sione Tuipalotu, dragged down. I believe it would have been Ben Loader at outside centre. The Stormers going to the right-hand side. I'm surprised we don't have a bit of a break in club rugby in a World Cup. Yeah, it is a little bit surprising. I guess some of these sides, they'll be able to use that to their advantage with the fact that they aren't playing South African sides with a whole heap of extra talent in their lineups. That's not to say that the players out there on the field for these SA sides can't get the job done. It's just while they are, I guess you could call them vulnerable, that's when these other sides need to strike and get their points. Now, so far the Stormers have got 2 wins, so teams haven't been able to do that effectively. Big kick behind from McDowell, and now the Stormers 10 metres out from their line. What a Halant to kick this one towards the touchline. Just get it deep and hard, and that one will go out about 45 metres or so out from the Glasgow try line. Hey, Hamish says, happy welcome in and can't get enough of your commentary. Well, we are not going anywhere. We have still got plenty more live streams. A lot of people thought after the World Cup that we were stopping YouTube, which is not the case. We've still got plenty of videos, plenty of live streams that we are going to be doing. At the end of the day, we covered pretty much a majority of the Rugby World Cup cycle from 2020 to 2023. And we plan on doing that for the Rugby World Cup in Australia as well. We have got there, what's your verdict on the best of the Southern teams versus Northern Hemisphere team tour? I don't know if it has been done before. Only British and Irish Lions tour, says Xander. I mean, it could be something World Rugby look at. I know that they've been talking about the new competition. They would have 10 teams, the 4 Six Nations sides, and then the 4 from the Rugby Championship alongside Fiji and Japan as invitational teams. That's going to be another penalty for Glasgow. This time, I believe it was Kiki Marabi who gives away that penalty. Just not quite rolling away the way that he needed to. And George Horn strategically falls over like he was made of cardboard and wins the penalty. Hi, says it. Denny, welcome in. Hope you are doing extremely well now. Line out here for Glasgow, 40 metres out from the line. So far, 7 minutes into this contest. And we have no tries that have been scored as of yet. We have got Simran said the best commentator. Can't wait to watch the Sevens. And of course, that is coming early December. So it should be exciting. I believe the Dubai Sevens takes place, I think my birthday is right in the smack bang of the middle, but I've said already that I'm delaying my birthday till Christmas-ish, because or else then, yeah, the next week is also covered with Sevens. So, slip there from Sasha Ngume Zulu. It's the kick in behind, though, awkwardly taken by Glasgow. And that one goes into touch. Looks like there's a little bit of stickiness or a little bit of slidiness here in the service. But yeah, the birthday's delayed, but that is because the Sevens is coming back. And the Sevens is one of those competitions you do not want to miss, because it's just back-to-back-to-back-to-back action. It was well cleaned up at the back there from Ollie Smith. So I don't know whether or not it is raining currently, but I know that there has been a little bit of moisture around for Glasgow today. And also we go there to a Kana, says Bonnie, it's stolen there by Glasgow. And now got the opportunity on the halfway line. Great attack and run from Johnny Matthews. Been a bit of a super sub when making his way onto the field, but does often start for Glasgow. Cross kick here from McDowell. Finds Consiglieri's hands, but he knocks it straight into touch. The Sharks 5-0 against the Ospreys, says Ateni. And there as well, and Stormers take the W. The Sharks to take an L, says the House of Emery. Well, interestingly enough, I believe when it comes to the odds, you've pretty much said that the underdog in this scenario is going to win and the favourite is going to lose. as it's actually pretty much the opposite for these two sides. But it's a bold statement, but perhaps it comes true. That's the thing with the URC. So early on in the competition, it is very hard to predict who is taking away the victories. That is going to be the free kick now for Glasgow due to closing the gap here from the Stormers. Just getting a little bit wrong in this one so far. And 9 minutes into the contest, now looking to put this one into the scrum. I feel like because I said that this is going to be a high-scoring game, it's going to be probably a lot lower scoring than expected. Both of these sides have been able to walk away with bonus points in their previous encounters or previous fixtures of the URC season. Currently on the halfway line here for Glasgow, though. George Horn about to feed the ball, and I think the sun's coming out. That's nice. I know that sounded like I was a dog, but yeah, if the sun's out, it means we might be playing cricket. The cricket kicked off in about 4 hours' time, and I'm not optimistic because we're supposed to have thunderstorms today, which will not be ideal. I don't really want to get zapped. That would be ideal if I can avoid that. And Hayes says, Super Connor, welcome in, mate. We are doing extremely well now, going off to the left-hand side here. Short ball from Horn goes to Jordan. Now looping around. Great shot in the midfield. I believe there was once again Ben Loader. Now to the right-hand side. Ollie, Kebble taken down. They're starting their lineup with an Ollie, ending it with an Ollie too. Kebble and Smith. Now to Ipalotu. Great hands there. Moving up towards the halfway line. Rory Darge not held. And the Sharks 5 and Ospreys 5. Geez, so a high-scoring game between those two sides by the sounds of it. And also real good there. The cricket coaching will start soon, Amish. Says Grant. Although the cricket so far... Oh, no. Big run from Scansinieri. He's got options with him. He sells the dummy. Offload on the inside. The mistake, though. It's a knock-on from Jordan. Just needed that last pass. Sounds like I'm calling the World Cup final again. Talking about knock-ons from Jordan, but that is a penalty for a high tackle in favour of the Stormers. That was a bit of an explosive attack from the Glasgow Warriors. Just simple passing. Short ball. Great step from Cancellieri, who certainly held on to that one and then just couldn't quite find that next pass that he needed. It went through the hands of Jordan and then cleaned up by the Stormers. Are you keeping track of the Cricket World Cup as well? I am. Now that I've got a little bit more, I guess, availability, I'm hoping to be able to cover some of the Cricket World Cup at some point in the future, whether or not that is a playoff game or something along those lines. Missed, says Itini there. Now Sasha Ngumezulu kick this ball in touch. I remember when he was considered the next big thing for the Springboks. They were looking at him in that South Africa A game. He didn't quite perform the way that a lot of people anticipated, but he is still young. He's still got a lot of potential. And yeah, he'll be hoping to do well throughout this URC competition. At the end of the day, this is about putting your name in the hat for a chance for that next Rugby World Cup. Although you look at some of these South African players and you realise like they aren't going anywhere anytime soon. They've still got a lot of classy players still around. Now Ruben van Heeren cleans that one up. That's knocked on from Sasha Ngumezulu. Whoops. I kind of jinxed him there. Currently trying to get the other game set up as well so that I can have it. TMO, don't know why. Says Etienne, and greetings, says Sabia. Welcome in, mate. We are doing extremely well. Just talking about the unforced errors that have happened throughout this game. Still 0-0 after the 13 minutes. But it's been a nice change of pace, I do have to say, compared to the Rugby World Cup. Like the Rugby World Cup, we covered all 48 games. Now, we won't be able to cover every game of the URC, of course, due to overlaps, but we are hoping to cover at least a few games a weekend. Wait, so it's now no try for the Ospreys. Etienne, 5-0. Oh, so they've done that real late. That happened, which game was it? In the Rugby World Cup where the try was scored. I think it was Samoa up against England, wasn't it? That the try was scored and then they said, actually, no, you can not have that try. Right, I've now got both games up on my screen, so I'll be able to keep you updated with what is happening in the Sharks. That is another penalty, though, to Glasgow in this case. The Warriors scrum has been very effective. Joseph Weber smiling at the referee. Although that's not going to help him in those scrums. It was Alistair Vermaak, in fact, got himself in trouble. And hi, Hamish Bro, says Michelle. Welcome in, mate. Hope you're doing extremely well. The ball kicked into touch from Glasgow. Now 44 metres out from the Stormers line. It's been a little bit of a lower scoring one at this point, but both sides having that feeling out phase of the match. Still plenty of time remaining to get towards that bonus point that both of these sides will be eagerly trying to get. That was not very straight, although it might have been the angle that we are looking on from. Now rolling maul starts up. Johnny Matthews looking for the ball at the back, but it doesn't actually reach him. Instead, Joseph Weber, the man who makes the tackle, now 40 metres out from the try line. Going to the right-hand side, Johnny Gray, or in fact, it's Richie, his brother, dropping the head. Big run again here. No advantage against the Stormers for rushing up offside. Now going to the right-hand side here. Consigliere got space on the outside. Nailed in the tackle by Ben Loader, the Englishman. He's had a fantastic start to this game. Good evening from my side, Hamish. How you doing? I want to say this for the Cape Town Stormers. Says Wuzumuzi. So I'm doing very well. It's been a nice week overall, I would say. We've had quite a bit of editing, quite a bit of planning, I guess you could say, working out what we are doing in the near future. But it's overall been a week that has flown by, and the fact that the URC is still running is awesome. And the Barbarians, they are going to be taking on Wales tomorrow night. We will be covering that one on the channel, ladies and gents. So if you are new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. That is kicked dead by Glasgow. That is a mistake that they could not afford to have. The youngster there, Tom Jordan, just cracking under the pressure early on. And Hamish Bro, Pakistan versus New Zealand at the World Cup 2023 tomorrow. Crucial to New Zealand for the semi-final place. Yeah, unfortunately, New Zealand, their game up against South Africa, it did not go the way that they wanted it to. They lost badly in that contest by a couple hundred runs. I'll be honest, South Africa looking the goods in this Rugby World Cup competition. They have had quite a few effective victories, and they're playing the conditions well. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes, but I know that we've still got, how many rounds? I think it's about 3 rounds left before we get to the semi-finals, or is it actually, it might be less than that. In fact, and penalty obstruction, says Eteni there. Now 16 minutes in, Herschel Yankees, that is a name that we haven't actually said throughout this matchup, but it is the penalty this time for the Stormers. Glasgow's front row collapses, and they do manage to get themselves one back. That was actually Xander Fagerson this time, getting himself penalised. Now the Stormers try and get out of their own half. Looks like they're actually going to give it to Jean-Luc Duplessis for this kick. Let's get it out just out from the 22. So I should mention there's also another game taking place in the Premiership at the moment. I believe it is Gloucester versus Sale Sharks. That game currently sitting 0-0. We have got Hey Hamish, says not your everyday cultist. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing extremely well. We are excited for way more URC. We have got there broadcast Cricket World Cup through your rubbish. Rugby World Cup is over. What are you doing now? We're still doing rugby, Master Koya. Like I say to you every time, even though your ears are painted on, anytime we do cricket, we have like 3 people watching, and then they leave. So it's just me. So that is why at the moment we are doing the rugby rather than the cricket. Yeah, Joseph Weber had that little pop pass, or the hesitant nature to his line out. So now it will actually be the scrum feed for Glasgow. And try time Ospreys, says Eteni there. And also Matt Henry, Jimmy Neesham, and Chapman. I missed tomorrow's game, says Michelle. So yeah, a few big changes for the Kiwis taking place. I think that at the moment they're still trying to find what their best side is, but a lot of their best players at times haven't really been performing. I'm going to see the box store tomorrow in Durban, says not your everyday culture. So hopefully you do enjoy it. At the end of the day, I'm sure the party is still going on in South Africa. We are only 1 week after that Rugby World Cup. In fact, less than a week after the final. Nice loop and run. The outside to Ollie Smith. Now penalty again. This time it's Sasha Ungomezulu who manages to win that turnover in 5-5. Says Eteni there. So there might be some sort of injury here down underneath for Ollie Smith. A little bit of an awkward fall when he hit the turf. What happens? Yeah, I think it was just from his shoulder. It was kind of there, and then it got pulled around as the player got ripped backwards, I guess you could say. Now, looks like there is going to be a kick at the post here from the Stormers. So probably not what they would normally like to do, but it is one of those scenarios that you want to get some form of points on the board, and it looks like Sasha Ngume Zulu will actually be the man with the kicking tee for this matchup, 5-5. And also we have got there tomorrow's most exciting day in the Cricket World Cup. Says Master Koya, and also what's up, Hamish? Do you feel All Blacks were unlucky to miss out so close yet so far? I don't think that the All Blacks, in terms of what to blame, like there's nothing that they can really blame other than their own performance. At the end of the day, they missed kicks, they missed opportunities, and valiant effort with 14 men on the field, but up against a side like the Springboks, who have had so many close games back to back to back, like you have to make sure you put that dagger in, and the All Blacks weren't able to do so. So at the end of the day, South Africa, once again, world champs. Double header tomorrow for the Cricket World Cup, says Master Okoya, and also we really, yes, the parties are, but not really major respect to you guys. No one can deny that you were the better team in the second half, at least playing with 14 men, but yeah, really good match. One to remember, says Not Your Everyday Cultist. And I still believe New Zealand cricket team come back here for a few matches, says Vishal. Yes, they've got their game up against Pakistan. Then, India, South Africa is going to be a big one, alongside England versus Australia. Then New Zealand, they've got Sri Lanka. That is a must-win. And then from there, we're into the semi-finals. Currently attack here for Glasgow. Going off to the left-hand side. The Glasgow Warriors, who have had more attacking ball than we have seen from the Stormers at this point. 22 metres outgoing this time to the right. Little pop pass up from Rory Darge. Goes to Ferguson. Sounds like we're calling a Scottish match from the World Cup. We covered every single one. I support New Zealand and Australia for both matches tomorrow on the cricket. And also we've got the evening chat. Says it was there from Jimbo. Welcome in, mate. Hope you're doing extremely well. Another penalty against the Stormers. At the moment, the ill discipline is letting them down and allowing Glasgow to be able to build up momentum, although they are still the side with the more points on the board here. For the Stormers, Sione Tui Paloto runs straight at Ruben van Heerden, and that will be going back for the penalty. Yeah, I don't know what's in the water here in South Africa. The Proteas are doing really well for once. That's got everyone confused here. Says Not Your Everyday Cultist. Yeah, they were a side that were ruled out before this Cricket World Cup took place. Like, we were talking about it, I think it was on the Ashes series, because we had a few South Africans popping in, and I was like, how do you guys think they'll go? And everyone was like, forget about the World Cup, don't talk about it. And I was like, bit strange, got a chance, surely. But no, everyone thought that there was no chance for the Proteas in the Cricket World Cup, and now everyone's like, how are they where they are? But they're a great side when they get it right, and when they bat first, they are a very effective team. They've got one of the best records batting first throughout the last, I think there's 7 games. They've won every single one of them that they bat first. So a lot of people will probably, in terms of the other side, they'll want them to bowl first in that case. But if they win the toss, they'll be better. Now, how's the Stormers 8? We haven't seen a huge amount of them. I think he's given away one penalty thus far. That is going to be now a penalty, though, or in fact a free kick one by the Stormers, 5 metres out from their own line. Managing to get that confidence booster, stopping that momentum of Glasgow, who did opt for the corner once more rather than taking on the 3 points, trying to be, I guess, a little bit more aggressive here. But it hasn't worked out as of yet. Amish Bros, see just your notifications on the coming to the stream at 1:30 a.m. on my clock, says Vishal, so it is greatly appreciated you being here, mate, for this live stream. It's a bit of a rough time zone, I guess you could say, in terms of for our Indian audience. I believe pretty much everywhere else it's not too bad. Let's hope we can get over Ireland, prove it's possible to break a knockout curse, says Not Your Everyday Cultist. And also we cover some cricket, crucial match for the Black Caps. I always directly cover semi-finals and finals, more than likely just the finals and the final if the Black Caps are in there, just because at this stage, if we end up getting the copyright strike from it, then it would mean that we're unable to stream anything else for a few weeks, which would not be ideal, because at the end of the day, we're in the flow of streaming every weekend, doing multiple games. That is going to be a scrum feed now for Glasgow after the mistake is made from the Stormers. They end up pre-engaging. Okay. Referee has said you need to improve your scrum. Next one's going to be a penalty, so not mincing his words. telling the front row exactly what they need to do to be able to not give away the penalty or the free kick over Sport New Zealand, says Vishal there. And also, yeah, Proti is just qualified by the skin of their teeth, says not everyday cultists, exactly right. And now, with that, they are sitting very nicely at the moment for the Cricket World Cup. They are sitting in second behind India, the hosts. Sri Lanka's out of the World Cup. So they'll also not play Champions Trophy, no issue of copyright. Although if they are covering the other games, which they did last time, that would be what got us copyright struck. Not so much just because it was Sri Lanka playing. Now, short ball, Tui Pelotu straight through a gap. Beautiful set piece there from the Glasgow Warriors, and they will now take the lead in this contest. And also, Sunday is the biggest blockbuster game in a World Cup. India versus South Africa. Yeah, massive game between those two sides. An overthrown New Zealand rugby team after the World Cup when they next are around playing the Rugby Championship, says Michelle. So New Zealand's next game that they have got, I believe, will actually be in, I believe it's July, somewhere around there. So, yeah, a little while till we get to see them in action. First of all, of course, we've got the Six Nations, we've got Super Rugby, got the Sevens, and most of the URC competition. That kick has gone over from Glasgow, and now from so much attack, they have been able to walk away with their first points, 7 points to 3 now. We have got there, Hamish, my man. Well, I still remember when you were at about 4K subs. Looking at you now, almost 50K, good on you. Says not your everyday cultist. And also, how have Glasgow been playing tonight? Seems we're still smarting after their 7-try win over Leinster, says Jimbo. They've been strong in this game. So far, Glasgow on attack. They've always had that attack up their sleeve, and it's that defence that if they can get right, they can be extremely effective. Like Leinster at times throughout that game, I think, still put in a real good effort up against this Glasgow team. But it was just the fact that anytime Leinster scored, Glasgow were able to get themselves one back not too much after. But yeah, Leinster, I have no doubts they will be in the top 4 by about maybe round number 10. Even though at the moment they're sitting about maybe, where are Leinster at the moment? On the table, they are sitting 11th. And I think that was the reason that I cut it off there, was because I wanted to have Leinster in there. But, I mean, if they play this weekend, which they will have a game coming up in the near future, like they'll go right up to probably, to be honest, about here by the end of this round. So maybe even by the end of round 5, they'll be in the top 4. And then maybe the top 2 or 3 by a few weeks' time. How much money was awarded to Rugby Champions team and runners-up? I'm not actually sure of the financials, but I know that the players would have received some sort of extra bonus for making it as far as they did. I know that Fiji received some sort of bonus as well for making it to the quarterfinals, which is fantastic, as some of their players, you know, they aren't quite paid what they should be, I don't believe. And I'm glad that the Fijian rugby was once again able to show why they are such a dangerous side on the world circuit. We have got there, watching from Nigeria, says Master, and also Glasgow cut our defence open like a hot knife through butter, and that try, says Cited. And there's, oh yeah, just straight through was Sione Tui Pelotu, a man who was probably a little bit quieter than he would have liked to be throughout the Rugby World Cup. Ollie Kibble, he went through the breakdown, got penalised, and now there is another opportunity for the Stormers to take on the 3 points. Now, if this was a normal fixture, the Stormers more than likely would be kicking this one for the corner, but they know that this is one of those games that it could go either way, and they need to make sure that they are getting those points on the board when they're available. And Sasha Zulu has now got the opportunity to do just that. Leinster's back row forwards, back 3 are on holiday, licking their wounds. They'll bounce back. Says Jimbo, a New Zealand team, definitely a special reward. I got to a New Zealand Rugby Association, New Zealand Rugby, Zulu. That kick has gone over. And that will now make the score 7 points to 6 between these two sides. After 28 minutes, now anyone wondering about the Sharks versus Glasgow game, if you don't want me to spoil what the score is right now, is if you do want to watch that game after this one, be sure to block your ears. Although, we might not be able to talk about it because only 5 metres out from the line, the Stormers have had their kick charge down, and now Glasgow have got themselves a 5-metre line-out opportunity for the rolling maul here. George Horn, though, fired up after being able to chase that one down. But yeah, the score in the Sharks versus Ospreys game is, block your ears if you don't want to hear it, and I'll cover my mouth as well, 5 points to 5. So a close game between those two teams as well at the moment. Now, nicely claimed by Richie Gray. And 5 metres out from the line. Looks like the Stormers have got this one relatively well defended, but now it rolls forward. Glasgow are over again. And they score their second try. It's Johnny Matthews who pops up with the ball. And hey, look at that, no suit. Says James Livingston. Yeah, the suit has been retired for now. Got the hoodie on. I mean, it's not quite the right hoodie. It's a Rugby League World Cup, but it has got a French rooster on it. I was going to say a different word there, but yeah, French rooster on it. So it kind of makes sense, I guess you could say, for the Rugby World Cup. But yeah, feels weird not being in the suit. I've still got the same thing on the bottom half, which is just shorts. George Horn now to line up this kick, but now 12 points to 6. It seems to be Glasgow are wanting to work in sevens. Stormers at the moment are happily accepting those threes, maybe knowing that later on in the game they feel they can find that momentum to start to get a few more points on the board. But for now, it's a great start to this match from Glasgow, who are now starting to reap those rewards. Come on, Glasgow. Keep it ticking over, says Steve McKinney. And also, hey, different competition. Still looks good. I hear the same, or still the same pro voice, says James. And there as well, Horn from the touchline, tough kick. And he has missed it away to the side. And what do you think about England? Just one match. They were the attacking champions claimed by Butler. Says Coding. Yeah, I mean, England has certainly had the World Cup that they didn't want. And to be honest, like, this is what I heard from South Africans at the start, or actually before the start of the Rugby World Cup, or sorry, the Cricket World Cup. Where England are sitting is honestly where people saw South Africa. Like, and that was from the South African population when we were covering games up against the West Indies and a few of their other matches up against the English. Like, they were saying, no, we haven't really got a chance. But I feel like everyone's been pleasantly surprised from the Proteas in the Cricket World Cup. And it's pretty awesome to see the fact that they've just been able to dig in and just really get some good momentum flowing. Glasgow looking great this season. They certainly are. Got a lot of momentum in their favour. They didn't lose that game to Connacht last week, but they still proved that they are able to score tries, and that is something that they can certainly use to their advantage throughout the early stages of the competition. Try and get those extra few points on the board. No one claiming that one, and now it's loose. No, knocked on. I believe that would have been Ben Loader making the mistake, although they've said it's gone backwards. Glasgow straight on the ball. There's in fact a knock on there, so they will go back for the original one. Irish Bro, how's auntie and uncle? I hope they're both all right. Miss you so much. Says the show, yeah, they're doing all right. I believe might be going out for tea tonight for Dad's birthday, as it was yesterday. So I might be joining them for that one as well, which may be why we don't have a live stream later on tonight. The sun is out here. There is a good chance we play cricket, ladies and gents, which is quite exciting because it looked like it was going to be called off for all money. Yes, we've still got like 3.5 hours till it's supposed to be cricket time. But it's 90% likely to rain at 1 p.m. That's going to be rough. It's around the start of the game. And gift of 5 memberships for Jimbo again. Thank you very much, mate, for your generosity on the live stream. Even though the Rugby World Cup is over, you are still sticking around, and it is greatly appreciated. So the 5 who received the gift of memberships, ladies and gentlemen, from Jimbo was Atizi, Bruce, Natasha Barrett. Got herself the membership there. And Tanjiro, I should say, and also Vastarea. Now big run from Glasgow as they look to bulldoze their way towards the try line once more, already scoring 2 tries throughout this first game of the URC up against the Stormers. And come on, guys, the Stormers, says Ethan Schwartz. And yep, so everyone, we're expected to do well in this Cricket World Cup. So we are doing well so far. Another penalty won by Glasgow. So they could take on the 3 points if they want to get outside of the 7, or they can kick for the corner and look to be even more effective and more aggressive. I see that Glasgow are not the only side doing well, though, from the Northern Hemisphere. I see that the Ospreys have got themselves another try in their contest. And also URC on with 6 Nations around the corner. Exactly right. They are going to take on the 3 points this time here for the Glasgow Warriors. And also real good there. Well done, folks. Good on you, Jimbo. Yeah, we've got Super Rugby, 6 Nations, both starting up in February. Alongside that, we've got the 7 circuit that we are covering on the channel as well. And it will be good for cricketers. South Africa or New Zealand can win their first World Cup. Says Coding. But yeah, at the moment, I think everyone would agree the team to beat is the home side, which is India. Let's have everyone watching hit the like. Says James here, if you haven't already, be sure to hit that like button. Only 34 minutes through this contest. 9-point lead now in favour of the Glasgow side. To see how it goes. At the moment, the possession is 76% in favour of Glasgow. So they have had a lot of the ball. That is for sure. Yeah, the weather's not quite doing what it was supposed to. It says it's supposed to be cloudy at the moment, but yeah, the sun is out. Hopefully we get some cricket in. We've been wearing the GoPro for the season, other than the first game, which we didn't have it on, but other than that, we've had it on, and we haven't done too badly. Change the game, boys. Come on, Stormers. Seth Ethan Swartz, nicely taken at the back by Warren Halant. I think there's been some players who haven't quite been able to step up as of yet, and I think that once they do, there's going to be a lot more momentum. And hey, can I watch the game? Whereabouts are you, Markin? Do let me know, and I'll try my best to let you know your best option for watching. Now, no advantage. That's going to be actually for the high tackle against Glasgow. I think that's about the third high tackle that they have given away. Now going off to the left-hand side, Elton Yankees goes across here. Good chance. Kicked down behind, cleaned up at the back by Ben Jordan, or Tom Jordan, in fact it is. And we have got there, hello, says Darren Link. Welcome in, mate. I hope you're doing extremely well. As well. Big shot from Ben Loader. Oh, yeah, that's a massive shot on Tom Jordan. Number one high tackle, so that will be against Ollie Kibble once more. Do the Stormers kick by the corner here? They look for the posts. So once again, deciding that that is the better option than going for the possible 7, but that will close their gap back to only being a converted try behind. Okay, bro, I have to sleep now. I see you tomorrow morning for Pakistan versus New Zealand. Game Amish Bro, some chats on Instagram tomorrow between this game at 10:30 a.m. start, says Vishal. And the results, so hopefully you do enjoy your sleep and hopefully you are well rested for the cricket. We have got there, have you ever played a test match? Or you played how many overs? It'd be good to play a test for 5 ultimate battle. Says Coding. I mean, last year we were looking at trying to organise some sort of special, test match for our grade of cricket. I don't know whether or not it would be possible. There would be quite a bit of organising that needs to go into it. Like one of the older fellas said when I was talking to him about it, he's played a lot of cricket. He's been involved in quite a few different competitions and whatnot, but he was pretty much like kids and young adults want to play test cricket until they play test cricket, which pretty much means as soon as you get halfway or maybe even 3/4 of the way through day 1, and then there's still 4 more days to go, it puts a lot of people off playing a full 5-dayer. So if you can manage to find enough people to be able to play those matches, that would be pretty awesome. We have got there, see Vishal, says James there, and also by all you guys have a great time. And this new guy, Ben Loader, has been taking names tonight. Yeah, very handy English player. Ben Loader close to the touchline there. Tom Jordan manages to avoid the touchline. Tackled by Angelo Davids. Of course, coming from that blitz box side, who are back in action early December for the Dubai Sevens competition. We will be covering that on the channel alongside the week after, which I believe is going to be also a very exciting leg. It's kicked towards the touchline from George Horn. Not a huge amount of distance. I should mention the kick did go over. So now makes the score 15 points to 9 between these two sides. Currently more points scored in this game than we have seen between Ospreys and the Sharks. And Joseph Weber throwing it in. Overthrown though. Stormers knocking it backwards. And Evan Ruiz able to clean it up. Going off to the left-hand side. Joseph Weber again. And James, do you watch the game? Says Markin. Vermaak. Another nice carry from the loose head prop. Yankees. That looked like something happened off the ball there. I'm not sure what it was. Might have been a clean out. And there's actually a scrap going on down on the short side. Looks like there are 2 players with a bit of push and shove. Matt Fagerson, I think, got a cheap shot from Evan Ruiz. Kicked him behind. Davids knocks the ball on though. Forced into touch and they will go back for it as the touch flag is up, but now I think they might check whatever that was. Okay, Evan Ruiz, what did he do? Okay, he's off the ball, tips him above the horizontal. Really bad, dumb move there from Evan Ruiz. And depending on how the player landed, being Matt Fagerson, he might actually end up with a yellow card, if not more here, for Evan Ruiz. George Horn's done well to be able to try and stop the altercation. Yeah, we might need another angle of that. It did look like a tip tackle from Evan Ruiz. People were asking why he wasn't included in the Springboks squad for the Rugby World Cup, why he was overlooked. This is why. His discipline has been pretty poor over the last 12 or so months. I mean, you got Quagga Smith. Why would you look elsewhere? Such an important player in the Springboks outfit. Right, here we go. Key moment in the game. So Matt Fagerson is in the breakdown. Then from there, Evan Ruiz, he got frustrated because he couldn't move Fagerson. So then he was off to the side. Evan Ruiz tips him up. Oh, he lands on his back, gets an elbow to the neck as well there. So that's not looking good for Evan Ruiz in this game. Oh, we're seeing this slowly. Uh-oh, says Jimbo. Yeah, this might not be good. And Smith was one of the stars of the World Cup. He certainly was. Quagga Smith, huge amount of impact off that bench and just an undeniable player when it comes to what the Springboks were able to do. Okay, let's check this one. Minimum of a penalty. Chance of a yellow, I think, is, by the sounds of it, what the commentators are thinking in the scenario. But really, really dumb from Evan Ruiz, is the best way of putting it. There was no need for it. Now the penalty is going to be reversed in favour of Glasgow. So the try would have been disallowed if they had scored. Okay, they're just determining what level of danger there was. Matt Fagerson, pretty confused at why he all of a sudden got attacked, but they're still determining it. This is a big moment in this game as well. Whoever... Okay. It's Kalipe. Okay, it's a yellow card. He was a giant versus Scotland, then Ireland. But his minutes versus France were dream team stuff. Says Jimbo, yeah, he was like, when you think of a super sub, no one had more of an impact off the bench than Quagga Smith across any side. You could argue maybe RG Snyman for the South Africans wasn't too bad. Evan Ruiz is confused at why he's been penalised because, for one, it was off the ball. 2, it was past the breakdown. 3, he tipped him above the horizontal. 4, he continued with it afterwards. And 5, get off the field. For Evan Ruiz. But he will be off for around that 10-minute mark. Can't be upgraded in this case as well. I should mention different rules to what we saw for the Rugby World Cup. Are you doing the Munster match tomorrow, says Connor? I don't believe so. I think that they play at the same time as the matchup taking place between the Barbars and Wales, if I'm not wrong. But I will just have a quick look at the schedule and see when that game is taking place. Question is, how much is that going to cost the Stormers for Evan Ruiz making the mistake? It's nicely thrown in, though. Claimed by Gray. What rugby content coming, says Darren. So we've still got the URC. We've also got the Barbarians game versus Wales. Alongside that, we've got a rugby gaming series coming up, hopefully. That is fingers crossed anyway. Big run from Dash. But yeah, the 7's also coming back. So we've still got plenty of videos. We're planning on... Oh, that was another tip tackle. No. The Stormers making another mistake. Now there's a lot of push and shove. They were trying to protect their player, but all they've done is all fall onto him. This could be now a Stormers side with 13 men on the field. The screws have come loose, and they are seeing red at the moment. I think that was unfortunate. Because... Oh, no, Dweber's done that on purpose. He's lifted him, hoping to slam him down. I don't think it's going to be anything more than a penalty, but like Joseph Dweber, why has he lifted him in that case, that was going to do nothing for him. And yeah, by lifting him, all you do is create an opportunity for your teammate to get penalised or for yourself to get penalised. Imploding, says Jimbo. It's the best way of describing it. It just seems like something's gone wrong. They've just decided, hey, we're going to start a brawl out here. Now the TMO has to have another look at this. The other game was actually behind in terms of the clock. Oh, there's a yellow card now for the Sharks as well. In their game, I think that's... Oh, who that? Janse van Rensburg has now been sent off the field for a yellow card in the Sharks game. I don't know what has just happened to South Africa's discipline as a whole, but across both their games, giving away yellow cards. And the Springbok victory was amazing today. Cape Town stood still. And also has the Wales match on TV tomorrow. I'm not sure about for you. I know that it is being broadcast though, so we will be having a look at it. Joseph Dweba now going to the bin for 10 minutes for lifting him. So that was just a bad decision that the captain is lacking. Says not your everyday cultist. But yeah, as soon as you lift a player off the ground, you're always going to end up in the scenario of either tipping him over, or if for some reason he lands safely, you've still created that risk. So a 13-man Stormers side... So, Johan Nederland-Fouché told off by the referee. Pretty much the words were not minced once more. He said, any more ill discipline, I'll send more players off the field. Show some leadership, is what the referee said to Johan Nederland-Fouché. So, pretty big statement. To be fair, I didn't even know Johan Nederland-Fouché was captain. So, maybe he is right in that regard. But now Johnny Matthews to throw this ball in. If Glasgow do not score now, I'm sure they will be disappointed. Definitely because they have got this opportunity just before halftime to create even more momentum. And methinks the disciplined players are in the Box national team. They are on victory. Says Franz Smith. And there in France, I should mention your package did arrive at my house. That's a big rolling maul. Matthews through. And he gets his second try of this matchup. Glasgow are now sitting on 3 tries, which means they need one more and then they will have the bonus point. But a nice lead starting here by the end of the first half. Cool, says Franz. A great bit of work from Glasgow to close out this half with a bang. Johnny Matthews scores himself another try. I see the TMO is going to be involved in the other match. I thought your dad ate it, says Franz, but he did not know. Me and George, though, we tried it, and we do have a video that will be coming out probably in 2 weeks' time or somewhere around there by the time it's edited on the entertainment channel of trying it. Nice work, Johnny Matthews. Always bringing that intensity. Breaking off the back. It was going to be hard to stop from that close to the try line. Slamming down. And also the Stormers with the George emojis. And they're from the House of Emery's. Now, chance for George Horn to add 2 more points on the board. It's not the easiest kick, although I would say he'd like to get it over with the skill that he normally shows. Taking his time to line it up. Oh, he started a bit too far out to the right, so the score will remain at halftime 20 points to 9. And I should mention, second half, when it rolls around, there are only going to be a total of 13 players on the field for the Stormers. For a side that have had 2 victories back-to-back, they have struggled throughout this first half up against that intensity that the Glasgow Warriors have been able to bring in this contest. The Ospreys have got themselves another try in that game as well. So 2 sides from the north doing extremely well at half-time. We have got their Stormers have longer to wait for their national players to return. I need to get it together, says Jimbo. And at the end of the day, like, the players who step up now are the players who get those opportunities when the big players do make their way back into the side. So they do need to make sure that they play a lot better than they have been here throughout this game. Like, there's been standout players throughout their first 2 contests. I don't think there's been a player that I can think of who's really looked great throughout this contest. I've hardly seen Willie Engelbrecht. You wouldn't know he was on the field. Out of everyone out there, you'd probably say Ben Loader. the standout in that back line, alongside maybe a little bit of Sasha Ngumezulu. But yeah, Ben Loader, I would say, is probably the pick of the players for the Stormers throughout this game. For the Glasgow Warriors, you probably go with either Sione Tuipulotu or Johnny Matthews, with the fact he's been able to score 2 tries. And discipline not good for the Stormers. Says Grant, yeah, giving away that yellow card of Emma Ruiz, and then the very next breakdown, trying to lift a player up for Joseph Dweba was just, yeah, not smart whatsoever. And it will hurt them a little bit as they make their way into the second half. And the big thing here for the Stormers is just not to concede early on, because if they do, it's going to be tricky. How has Watercalamp been playing? He hasn't been too bad. No real huge barnstorming runs on attack. Like, he's done what he's needed to defensively. A lot of the tries have not come from his eras. It's been either the rolling maul when they've scored or that break in the midfield from Sione Tuipulotu. But yeah, like Watercalamp, I'd give him about a 7 out of 10 or 6 out of 10, somewhere around there. So like, he hasn't lit the world on fire as of yet in this game. Storm and Springbok players will only join the team next year, says Grant. And there's also, yeah, they've got a long time to wait, which means there's a lot of opportunities for these guys to be able to step up, show what they can do so that they can fight for their spots. I thought out of every player for the Stormers, Clayton Blumenkies last year was very unlucky because he had an absolutely brilliant start to the URC, and then he just kind of lost his spot, went further down the pecking order, and didn't really get to show how much of a dangerous player he was. Now, he isn't in the starting lineup for this game, although he will be coming off the bench alongside Nkura, also Marcel Tennyson. So actually going with the 6-2 split. Andre Hugo Fente, he might be an effective player to come onto the field after Joseph Dweba returns from the bin. Just to add that little bit more discipline for the Stormers outfit. But both South African sides currently down by points. Stormers down by 11 at halftime. The Sharks down by 14 at halftime. So 2 relatively even games in terms of the score sheet. I think the sun's still out. We might have a game of cricket on later on, ladies and gents. It's supposed to absolutely bucket down, though, at some stage with thunderstorms and all sorts. So hopefully the cricket does take place. Even if we get wet after playing a little bit, I still wouldn't mind having a crack. And also Blommakis will come on and play 10 again, says Grant. And there, I mean, Jean-Luc Duplessis we haven't really seen, have we, throughout this game? And the fact that Ngumezulu handles the kicking means that they can go a little bit more unorthodox in their backline selections. Herschel Yankees is another player. I would have thought for him, this would be one of those performances that we'd see him a lot, see him stepping up, but no. I haven't seen him pretty much whatsoever, other than winning that 1 penalty for the Stormers early on in the game. I should mention, ladies and gents, if you haven't already, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. In about 20 hours' time, in fact, a little bit less than that, 18 hours' time, we have got the match taking place between Wales and the Barbarians. So be sure to check that out. Most people didn't even know that the Stormers were playing today. They're too preoccupied with the victory parade in Cape Town around Juan de Jong, and Rudy Page posing for pictures. Good guys, says JP. And the Stormers' discipline is all over the place. This is not the Stormers I know, says Mornay Lagrange. Yeah, I feel like the URC, there might be the case of until those big international players come back for the South African sides, maybe quite a few South Africans won't get too invested into this competition. I feel like it's only the hardcore fans that are really sticking by their sides in the early stages of the competition. It can be quite a lottery in terms of how these first matches do end up going, but it's the beauty of the URC. Very hard to predict, but very exciting to watch no matter what takes place. Next round, though, for round 4 of the competition, Zebre will have their game up against the Sharks. That is on Saturday morning, New Zealand time. Ulster will versus Munster, and Cardiff Blues have got their game up against the Bulls. Then on Sunday, the Stormers play Benetton, the Scarlets play the Lions, Ospreys play Glasgow, so that is, of course, who Glasgow have got just around the corner. 2 sides that are currently winning in their URC fixtures. And then alongside that, there is also Edinburgh versus Connacht, and then Dragons versus Leinster will be taking place as that Monday morning game. Munster versus Stormers is going to be a big one. That is in 2 weeks' time. Bulls versus Edinburgh, once again, going to be an awesome fixture. Ulster Lions, Sharks, Connacht. Those are 4 big games that are taking place for the South African sides. Second half just around the corner, like they're saying. Evan Ruiz to get penalised in the way that he did was just, it was not smart. Then from there for Joseph Dweber to do what he did was even worse, because they had just seen that they were going to get disciplined for their poor decision making, and he tested out the ref. He said, "Are you really going to penalise me?" And the ref said, "Yep, get off. See you later." Just showing the highlights of the Sharks Ospreys try. Been quite a busy game throughout the first 40 minutes. Now the Stormers, they'll be wanting a lot better in the second half, the start of it anyway. That could be where their impact is made. They've scored themselves 10 points throughout their 2 first fixtures in terms of the table, sitting top of the bunch. But if they do end up with a defeat here, that could end up dropping them a little bit. Glasgow currently sitting on 6. If Glasgow get themselves 1 more point and win this game by more than 7, they will go to number 1 on the overall table. The Ospreys as well, they will actually get promoted up to probably sitting 1 or 2, depending on how this match goes. Just for now, of course, before the rest of the games take place of this round. But at the moment, the underdogs, the Ospreys, they are winning. And the favourite, the Glasgow Warriors, they are also winning their game. I realised that I was talking about the upcoming games for these 2 sides when I actually made this earlier on. Benetton versus Stormers, that will be the next week's game. Then they've got Munster, then Cardiff, then Zebre, and then the European Champions Cup. They'll be taking on the Leicester Tigers. That will be a very good game because both sides normally pride themselves on their defence. In this game, we haven't quite seen that same effective nature of the defensive line, but yeah, it will be a very good game to witness. And I should mention, Champions Cup also around the corner for Glasgow. They have got their game up against Northampton. That will be taking place in 35 days. Munster playing Glasgow on my birthday. And then also Ulster, Benetton and Glasgow, the 3 games that they have got prior to that. In the chat, we have got Ben Loader at 13. It's been surprisingly good, seeing as he's a wing/fullback. Says Grant, yeah, he seems like he's got the size for number 13. In fact, he's probably, he's got the size for 12, doesn't he? But yeah, he's an effective guy no matter where you put him in the back line by the looks of it. So that is good news for the Stormers. Like I mentioned, he's probably one of those guys that will be able to use the start of the season as his launching pad. What do you think of the turf pitches, Hamish? Stuff is horrible to play on, absolutely garbage. CSCK, I mean, normally it's depends on the pitch a little bit. Like the Glasgow one's normally not too bad. To be honest, we saw a couple slips early, but overall from there, it's looked like it's pretty decent. It's no fun for the players. I know that they've had to play on them in the past for the 7s. Players have had tape all over their elbows and their knees to try and avoid that grass burn. But yeah, I guess it's one of those ones that with the competition, you're always going to have a few different conditions to have to adapt to. And yeah, at the moment, I guess Glasgow showing that they've got that local knowledge in terms of the way that they play, being able to score the 3 tries throughout that first half. Second half just about to get underway. It looks like they've just got the players running around. I think they were having a kids game of rugby or something, and now they are about to make their way from the field. 40 minutes, but the most important time throughout that 40 minutes, of course, is going to be that first 8 minutes of this half when they haven't got their 15 men on the field, when they haven't even got 14, 13 versus the 15-man Glasgow, who've already scored quite a few effective tries throughout this matchup. This is a hard game to predict. I'm trying to think of a score for what I think it will be by the end of the second half. And I do see the Stormers finding some sort of attack. And maybe scoring a couple tries. No, really. Need a decent game here. Come on, boys. Says not everyday cultist. You heard of the death threats, I assume that is against Wayne Barnes. Hope that's not sour grapes. Says Monet Grange. The problem is referees have nowhere near enough protection, I don't feel, in terms of I wouldn't want to be a referee, and I used to love doing the refereeing at school and whatnot, but the amount of people who are just, to put it frankly, who are just dicks Like, there are way too many of them around. And I think I was actually talking about it with my mum the other day. Anyone who threatens a referee with a death threat should be incarcerated, or at least fined or something, banned from the game. Like, there's just no place for it. At the end of the day, rugby's supposed to be built on respect. It's known as a gentleman's game, and doing stuff like that just makes you the furthest thing from a gentleman, and it makes you pretty scummy, to be honest. Didn't really mince words there, that I was pretty honest, but yeah. At the end of the day, like, threatening anyone's just a dick move at the end of the day, and not, for the next 4 years, South Africa teams will be recovering from the World Cup hangover. And what's wrong with the Stormers? Normally they are very good. Says Xander, yeah, they've just struggled a little bit with discipline throughout that first half. They've had a lot of penalties against them, and they've just been diving into the breakdowns, making silly decisions, and it has been costing them. They're currently playing with 13 men as well, having 2 yellow cards at the end of that first half. Joseph Dweba and also Ivan Ruiz, actually 2 players who were on standby for the Springboks Rugby World Cup squad. They will be kicking off now for the second half, lol, says Robert there. And Chess Biters and national tournaments suffer the same hate, /hate, says it was there from Fran Smith. But yeah, like, the amount of stories that you hear about, like, amateur referees getting assaulted by players now is disgusting, really, when you think about it. Like, at the end of the day, people are like, oh, just have a robot referee the games. But, like, at least in the sake of the robot, it doesn't have, like, that mental side of things that it has to deal with. But there'd still be decisions that people like, oh, the robot's been hacked, or, oh, the robot's swaying in one direction. They've changed the percentages, changed the sliders. Like, you just can't win. So it's one of those ones that, at the end of the day, like, they're also human, and they also, like, they can make mistakes, but overall, no one wants that job. That's nicely kicked downfield from Cancellieri, but it does go into touch just inside of the Stormers' half. Now, they will have to try and use up as much of this time as they can. Like I said, 13 players on the field, having to cover a lot of space. They're playing rugby league at the moment for the Stormers. So Warrior, in fact, is going to be the man with the line-out throw here. Has he got a straight one up his sleeve? Takes a very long time. Wonky throw goes about 2 meters to the side. And because of it, it means that once again, Glasgow have got that ball back. Now looking for the kick in behind. It was taken back, so it won't be a 50-22, but also it was just outside of the 22-meter line. And now another line-out throw. Warwick Calante's going to need a lot better one than that. Probably trying to go to the front would be a good idea. Why don't TMO pick up the knock-on try of New Zealand in the final? Is what I want to know. Says Xander. I mean, it's one of those ones that the TMOs throughout the competition, I feel there was no consistency in terms of what they were looking for. I think a lot of people, another stolen line out there, although it does stay in the field of play. Warakalan just kicks it into touch, though, when he was chasing after that one. But a lot of people's fears came true. At the start of the Rugby World Cup competition, we said, I hope that the games aren't determined by inconsistencies in terms of the refereeing from playoff onwards. Like, we saw it in the group stage, and we had our concerns. And then, like, yeah, the difference in the way that games were refereed was way too broad for a Rugby World Cup. Like, it should have been every referee on the same page, but it seemed to be that they were all reading a different book. Whoever their Stormers captain needs to step up. Says not everyday cultures and children leave the refs alone. Says Yarn now free kick. Goes the way of the Stormers. I believe that they actually closed the gap there, Glasgow. I can only imagine Don Johnson's rant in the changing rooms. It's a pity Barnes, like him or not, was the world's leading rugby union ref. Irish fans slagging him today online after his retirement was announced. Says Jimbo. But yeah, like, there's no way to win as a referee. Because no matter what, you could have the perfect game of rugby, but the other side of things sometimes isn't so much that the referee's making the wrong call. It's just the fact that people who are watching the game don't actually know the laws well enough to be commenting on most things. The amount of times that you see someone saying, why wasn't that a card, or why wasn't this a penalty, and you just explain it to them and they go, no, and you go, well, yes, that's what it says in the law book, and they go, no, that's not what I think. Like, it's just, unfortunately, the laws must have too much ability to be interpreted in different ways. Not just by referees, but also by supporters. So that is something that World Rugby will probably try and work on. Oh, almost dropped there from Tom Jordan. In fact, it was. But they will go back for the original knock-on. Like I said, untidy start to the second half. And perhaps that is just the pressure that Glasgow feel with the fact that they've got a two-man advantage. They think that they should be able to make up a few more points onto the board. But for now, it doesn't seem to be the case. Andre Hugo Fenta now will make his way onto the field. That is for Angelo David. So they have decided they do need a proper hooker out there on the park. Like it is going to be the scrum now. And referees suffer the most abuse are those at primary school netball games from the mums on the sidelines, says Franz Smith. Yeah, although if you make some good calls, you might go home with a mum too. So scrum feed now for the Osprey. They're not playing. The Glasgow Warriors is who I meant, of course. 30 metres out from the line. Ball about to be fed in. Lol, says Robert. George Horn. Ball. Oh, that was a bit of a shaky scrum, but they have now got the advantage here, the Glasgow Warriors. Good attack and play. Looping in behind. That's a deliberate knockdown. And that will be going back for the penalty in favour of the Glasgow Warriors. Now, they're not too happy about that one, as it was probably slapped down by the Stormers. Yeah, I think... Oh, no, they were in front trying to take the quick tap. Big run from the... Oh, the Sharks just knocked the ball on. They were 5 metres out. We are there, Hamish, always on the hunt for a grandmother. Says Grant there. What's your opinion on simplifying rules? There we go. Example, instead of knock forward, if the ball touches ground, it's called knock on. To simplify the rules so refs can make easier calls. That's the thing, there's got to be something though. The old school days of rugby, you hardly heard about the referees because every breakdown, if you wanted to get the ball, you just drove over the top of the opposition. Is slapped down always red? It is not, no. Sometimes it's a penalty, sometimes a yellow card, and it can also be a penalty try. Delayed pass, gets him in. Oh, that was just a shoulder to the head of Cancellieri. They might have to check that one again. That was from Lely and Zas. Didn't look like he had any attempt to wrap his arms, but they are going back for the original penalty anyway by the sounds of it. I'm spending too much time on Reddit debating with South Africans. It is not healthy for me, says Ian Foster. And Barnes famous here for continuing penalising Kian Healy at scrum time. Fans reckoned he didn't know the laws. Truth is Healy was a villain in our front row, says Jimbo. Yeah, kicking for the corner again here, Glasgow. If they can score a try now, they will walk away with a bonus point in this fixture. The Ospreys also chasing that. Of course, these two sides are going to be going head-to-head next week with Glasgow and the Ospreys. Here goes Johnny Matthews. Already scoring 2 tries. Oh, gaps being closed again. Both sides are guilty of it. Looks like Ivan Ruiz about to make his way onto the field, but first there will be this line out. Throwing into the front, going straight to Richie Gray. Well defended by the Stormers. They do have to use it. Johnny Matthews busts out the back. Now Horn going across to McDowell in the midfield. Actually not Slade, it is Stafford. Of course, Slade McDowell playing for Otago. Now Ollie Kebble. Tackled again by Vermaak. Onto the left-hand side. Massive run forward, but great defence from the Stormers at the moment. Xander Fagerson tackled low. There's a knock-on. And now well done from the Stormers. They've been able to survive for those 10 minutes. Yes, they did concede at the end of the first half. A little bit of a face-to-face there between Willie Engelbrecht and Xander Fagerson. For me, the rules are very complex at the moment. Everyone arguing about rules means it needs to be easier so play can flow without the TMO. Says Xander, yeah, I think everyone will agree throughout the Rugby World Cup competition, there was far too much TMO influence in any game. I'm not talking, people will straight away go, oh, you're from New Zealand, you're talking about the final. I don't think like, that is the case. I think it was across all games that the TMO has more power than the referee, and it showed because referees are scared to give any penalties now because they have to wait to hear the TMO whisper in their ear saying, hey, mate, there's a penalty there. You should go back and look at something that was 15 phases ago, but I think I saw someone put a finger in that man's hoo-ha. We have got there way too much, says Ian Foster. We have got there great defence, boys, says Grant Swartz. Yeah, a lot better from the Stormers. It's as if maybe that halftime chat has worked and they've woken up. They're ready to go now, 48 minutes through this contest. Still plenty of time remaining for them to be able to get that momentum flowing. Evan Rus back out onto the field. I wouldn't be surprised if he's one of the men that they take off soon, maybe for Marcel Tennyson as an option. The scrum is steaming at the moment. Due to the cold. Big push there. And the penalty won by the Storm as Glasgow lose their feet. I believe that's on the far side for Ollie Kibble. Once again making the mistake. Not driving straight as the call. And then he gets where Ian Foster or Eddie Jones will be heading next year. Well, Eddie Jones seems like a safe option as probably Japan, seeing as he kind of had that plan the whole time to put pretty much Australia at rock bottom and then ditch them. But, yeah, I don't know. Like, if I was any international side and I saw how Eddie Jones treated the Wallabies, I'd say, nah, you're not coming to coach us, because what's to stop him from doing that to any other side? The only difference is they haven't got a World Cup to be able to deal with. It was terrible to watch, though. Jimbo also almost cost Barnes his ass when he pulled back Artie's knock on, says Jimbo. But yeah, it's interesting as well, because there are the rules that say, I think it's you're allowed to go back 2 or 3 phases with the TMO for something that isn't a knock-on, that isn't a penalty. So in a knock-on's case, you're allowed to go back, I think it's 3, I could be wrong with that rule, but I think it's 3 phases you're allowed to go back to check. And if any more than that, it's the ref's discrepancy that you have to go off. But like Wayne Barnes in that case, he made the wrong decision, but he said multiple times afterwards, not a knock-on, play on. But then he pretty much had his balls grabbed by the TMO Tom Foley, and he said, hang on, mate, I can see all of the replays. I don't like what you've said. So here's a little bit of something to look at. Should only be for foul play, says Jimbo there. And looking back now, where does this final rank with previous finals? For me, it's right up there, the best like 1995. I mean, I think that there were a lot more handling issues in this game than a lot of people would have liked to see. Oh, great run here for the Stormers. That was not a handling issue. Great run from Duplessis. Looking for the offload. Wasn't able to find it, but now 10 metres out from the line here. It's going to be a chance for the Stormers. I think Evan Ruiz has just flopped over the breakdown, dropped the ball as well, and now Glasgow have got themselves the scrum. This is my second least favourite final I've ever watched, to be honest. First being the 2019 final. And also Gloucester losing 3-12. To Sale Sharks away at the AJ Bell Stadium. So not quite the start that Gloucester would have been after in that game, although close enough that they can still get their way back. And Ollie Kibble giving his old team a penalty, says Grant. Yeah, great run from Jean-Luc Duplessis. That's the first time we've seen him start to charge. Stormers by 10, I predicted. Glad my reverse psychology working for Glasgow, says Nazi. The chat. Now Cummings, he will be making his way onto the field. That is for Richie Gray. Jamie Butte on for Kibble. And I think that's the only 2 subs that have been made at this stage. So the scrum penalties have been going against Ollie Kibble, so it makes sense that they would bring on a new player to try and adjust those and fix them. And interestingly enough, in the other game that has taken place, we have seen 10 minutes of play, and we have not seen a single point being scored either in that fixture. When you next stream in Premiership Rugby games, not too sure as of yet. Normally, the Premiership, like the order that we do is URC or International Rugby or anything like that. International or Sevens, then the URC, and then Gallagher Premiership when we do end up with a free time. Vailanu now off the back, big run from him. It's actually one of the first times we have seen him have the ball in hand. And also over there, Ian Foster TMO put you off. Says Xander. It's going to be kicked high from George Horn. But yeah, I think that was the benefit that when you consider those two finals that you mentioned, like 1995, there was a lot less influence by, I guess, officials overall. That's a huge tackle made by Duplessis. Had to be made as well to stop the momentum of Vailanu, whose thighs are as big as tree trunks. Joseph Weber now. His lineouts aren't normally that accurate anyway, but to have that extra pressure now. Herschel Yankees has been called as part of the lineout. Stolen again by Glasgow. Great bit of work there from the home side in tomorrow New Zealand time, 4th of November, USA. Steve Ogg's 50th birthday, voice of Trevor Phillips. And GTA 5 says Kiwi Gamer. Been told to use it. George Horn will boot this one high. Now chance under the high ball from Lelian Zas. Ripped off him again. The handling letting down the Stormers. Currently Tom Jordan looking for the cross kick. Doesn't quite get the bounce of the ball that he was after, and it does go into touch. Now Stormers with the line out throw. Good take from Lilian Zas initially, but then Cancellieri just gets in there and rips that ball off him. It's almost 11 p.m. in South Africa. I've just had that realisation that these later games when they kick off is actually not a great time for you guys in South Africa. So I do appreciate every single one of you for being here while you are still about on these live streams. Greatly appreciate. We have got plenty more URC, plenty more sevens and all sorts coming up on the channel. We've even been considering maybe even bringing back a series on the channel with Rugby Challenge 4, perhaps doing a Springboks career mode. Could be an option. Now, Evan Ruiz tackled there, 45 metres from the line. Johan Niddling for share. Now, Sasha Ngume Zulu got the pass on the outside. A Ben Loader fends off one. Thought about the pass behind. What a Kalant. And he kicks the ball into touch. So we'll be going back now. Follow on. My favourite New Zealand winger is Lomu. A second has to be Joe Rokokoko. That guy was so entertaining. It's only 9 p.m. here. In the wintertime, says Jimbo. And also, did you go to the fireworks at Western last night? I did not know. I didn't even realise there were fireworks, to be honest. But, yeah. I think I had a slightly earlier night than I normally would. Like about sleep by 1:30. No, actually, that's a lie. I got to sleep by 2 a.m., which is decent for myself in terms of my sleep schedule. But still not enough sleep. So hopefully I go all right. If we do play cricket, I don't fall asleep on the field, because that could be dangerous. Now chance for George Horn inside of his 22 to once again put this ball up high. Chasing after that one. Does go into touch. Good clearing kick. That's about 40 metres out now that the Stormers have got themselves another opportunity. We'll quickly look at the odds for this game, as I honestly feel like the Stormers are not out of this contest. They've made multiple mistakes, don't get me wrong, but they've still got a good chance. For the short option now. Stormers are $13 underdogs. I honestly feel like that is way too high. Is that correct? And the Sharks are also, they're $5 underdogs. In their case, sounds like there is a penalty coming for the Stormers though, so that will be a decent chance for them if it does work out. And Brandy helps you, helps if you don't have enough sleep. It's a natural medicine wonder, or medicinal wonder, says Xander, I should say there. Now chance for the Stormers after a mistake made. Well, we'll go like that and like that. There we go. Going to be kicking for the corner now here. Chance for Sasha Ngumezulu. So this will well and truly close the gap and also take the 3. There's enough time, but they've decided to go aggressive. They've realised that the 3 would put them only to 8 points behind rather than within that 7. And now Joseph Dweber. Big important throw from him. Herschel Yankees whispers sweet nothings in Dweber's ear. Probably just saying, please throw it straight, mate. Almost stolen that time, but it's a clean line out one by the Stormers. Now the rolling maul starts to make its way forward. Johan Niddling for share. Ball available at the back. Herschel Yanchis now starting to march forward very nicely indeed. They've got about 7 men all working their way forward. They've been told to get out of it though. Now breaking off 2 metres. In fact, sorry, 10 metres from the line here for the Stormers. This is their chance to get themselves over the try line. Yankees goes across here to Johan Nederland Fouché, driven backwards well in the defensive effort. There's an offside advantage in favour of the Stormers once more. Yankees goes across Sasha Ngume Zulu. Short ball, Lelian Zas within the 5 metres. Tackle and releases the call. Now Yankees thought about going across himself. Very close to the try line. He's been held up. And that is now going to be a penalty. In fact, it's a goal line dropout, but they will go back for the original penalty, I believe. Or has the referee forgotten that penalty? What's happened there? No, he's short of the line there. They're going back for the 3, aren't they? Damingo, come on. Says Grant. It sounds like, yeah, okay, now they are. Okay, I was confused for a second because the referee was going goal line dropout. And I was thinking, you can't give one of those when they had the advantage. Big decision to make once more. But like I mentioned, $13 underdogs were the Stormers at that stage when I saw it. And tell you what, anyone who put money on them for that will be feeling pretty confident at the moment. Definitely if they are able to cross the try line here in this contest. I mentioned about it, they aren't out of a game at any stage throughout it, the Stormers. They've got that real aggressive nature. We have got there, Hamish, what do you think of if a drop goal or penalty behind half line is converted, it earns 4 points instead of 3? I think it will make the rules too technical or too difficult for people. I know that it's as simple as, like you've said, just adding an extra point, but yeah, I don't think they'll end up bringing it in, mainly because they do want to try and entice teams to attack, which is actually why the 50-22 was introduced, so that teams would go for those kicks in behind to try and find that little bit of extra territory. Whereas drop goals inside of your own half kind of increase the chance of a slightly more negative mindset, if that makes sense. Okay, McDowell has been warned, no more penalties will be tolerated. It's gone down in the front row again. Frauenstein kicked 64-metre penalty. I can't only give that 3 point, says Azand. I mean, at the end of the day, unfortunately for him, it is still worth the same amount. No points scored in the Osprey Sharks second half either at this stage, I should mention. Stormers look like they're right on the verge of being able to get themselves the try, though. I should mention Gloucester are actually the same underdog in their game up against the Sale Sharks as what the Stormers were before the Stormers had a couple of attacking opportunities. 21 minutes remaining in this matchup. You wonder what will happen with this scrum here now. And if the Stormers can get going with it. Big push once more. Oh, it's a penalty to Glasgow. That's a big one. That is a massive, massive, and I repeat, massive, massive one for them there. I think one of these teams will win, says Paddy Blaze, so you're not backing a draw. In that case, Paddy, at 2 pens, being more than one try is all wrong for me, says Jimbo. Yeah, I think that they'll try and keep those points down. I think the crowd are chanting, "We are Warriors, we are Warriors." Now, there's a couple big moments in this game that the Stormers have got wrong. Fiddlesticks, says Grant there. Did I mention it was a massive moment? I feel like they've still got a good chance, though. They are now $16 underdogs. We have got there, Hamish, have you seen the video of the South African man who tilts his TV screen when Geordie Barrett kicked and the ball ends up going in the direction he tilted it? I did not know. No, I don't think I've seen that one. I've seen some celebrational videos from Springbok supporters, of course. Sacked well by the Stormers, the referee says. Now looking to get this rolling ball marching. Shut down by the Stormers. They've been able to keep this ball in their favour. Referee says that it's available, though. George Horn has done extremely well to get that ball out. I'll just stay on side. Now, I should mention Stormers came in as underdogs in this game. And if there is ever a time to get it right, it is throughout the last stages of this contest. George Horn, partially charged down by the sounds of it. Found a finger. Beautifully taken by Lilian Zas. He might have still been in the air when he was taken down now to the right-hand side. They have to make the decision of do they want to kick it or do they want to run it. It looks like they will go for the kick. Lilian Zas has stayed down, maybe to see whether or not that penalty will be given in his favour. 40 metres out from their own line here, Glasgow. They are still one try short of their bonus point. Xander Fagerson taken down nicely. Horn goes off to the right-hand side. And maybe conversions being kicked from inside the 15. Tramline, big run from Vailanu. Look for the offload. Doesn't quite set up, but George Horn cleaned up by the Stormers, who have now knocked it backwards, they say. That was a bit high from Cancellieri. Maybe conversions being kicked. That's a flat ball out to Lilian Zas. Gets it out to Warakalant. Will work, make it easier, says Jimbo. Now past them behind. They had the penalty advantage, and they will now be going back for it. And soccer, you only get 1 point, says Xander. That is true. And also in rugby league, you only get 1 point for the drop kick. Yeah, around the neck, Cancellieri. He was dropping down Sasha Ngomezulu. So it is going to be the yellow card. Oh, sorry, it's going to be the penalty, but not the yellow card. Straight away, they get it slightly wrong. Sean Vailanu, anytime he starts running, he's so hard to bring down. Stormers, I mentioned that they've got that 6-2 split off the bench. Could be effective in the later stages of this contest. Sasha Ngomezulu has not found the touchline, but it's knocked on here from George Ford. That's not his name. I believe it was actually George Horn, sorry. He did end up making that mistake, and Stormers can still turn this around in their favour, says Denzel Adams. Okay, 3 and 10 both being subs, so that is going to be Tom Jordan off the field, and also alongside that they have made the change of Xander Fagerson. But this is one of those intense games, ladies and gentlemen, that seemed like we weren't going to have too many points throughout the second half, but as we get closer to the end of this game, there could be quite a few more changes. It's going to be Sornoni. Does take it well. But now the Stormers look to get this rolling more going again. It has been defended well by Glasgow, although now it starts to march that little bit further forward. Andre Hugo Fenta with the ball available, breaking off the back. Tackle there by Glasgow. Cancellieri, he's lost his footing. Almost could have been the penalty. Yanchis goes across now to Lilian Zas. A couple more running meters throughout this second half. The game is so technical now. Penalties are more frequent, reducing the value of tries, says Jimbo. And like I said, in the old school, if you wanted to get a turnover in the breakdown, you didn't have your hands on the ball holding on to it. Like you just ruck over the top of the guy. You just put the sprig marks down his back. Another good bit of work here from the Stormers. They're 10 metres out. Ivan Ruiz, the last thing that they want to do is make a mistake. Oh, Vailanu, who's got him? He just gets over the ball like it's a walk in the park. And Sione Vailanu, I don't think anyone wanted to move him. He was just in there, looking strong as he normally does. Herschel Yankees, he asked for the penalty. Johan Netherling-Fauché was jogging. He needs to get off the field right now because he has done not a lot throughout this contest. Like I said, it's like a try for Glasgow when they defend the way that they did. Oh, for foot's sake, says Grant. Yeah, that was just a lack of... I don't even know what it was a lack of, to be honest. Just a lack of awareness, I guess you could say. Yeah, there's no clean out. Vailanu knew that he had that ball because no one was going for him. And even while he was hanging on to it, there was no other player coming in. Hey, so I didn't totally go back to the NFL. Says cool story, bro. And this is just absolutely shocking. Says not your everyday culture. So now Johnny Matthews to throw this ball in. It's nicely taken by Matt Fagerson. Sacked again well by the Stormers. It is going to be... Okay, the sack was good, then he's trapped. And Kura now making his way onto the field. That is for Herschel Yanchis, who really hasn't had an impact. Clayton Blumekes now to come onto the field for Duplessis. That is a good call. I feel like Blumekes' attacking prowess could offer quite a bit in the later stages of this game. the Stormers to have a good chance of winning this contest, they would need a try now. We couldn't even score one try, says Not Everyday Cultist. Well, sorry, of course, when you mentioned about not scoring a try, my brain straight away told me to say something, but I held back. But in that game, where the side weren't able to score a try, they were able to win the game. So there's still potential. In this contest, as Dan Carter considered New Zealand's best fly half. Yep. Although there are a few decent mentions, I guess, thrown in there as well. But yeah, DC still at the top of the bunch. 14 minutes remaining now. It's going to be a big scrum for Glasgow if they can get it right. She mentioned that the game taking place between Ospreys and Sharks. The score also has not changed throughout the second 24 minutes we've had so far of the second half, and definitely my favourite, says Jimbo. George Horn still shouting instructions to his fullback. Absolutely right about the box. He at least defended well, says Not Everyday Cultist. Yeah, they limited the amount of tries that New Zealand were able to score, which was a big bonus for them in that regard. But yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because you look at the 4 finals the Springboks have been in, and in all of those finals, they have ended up only scoring in one of them. So it just shows that they are able to, I guess, just wear out the opposition and just keep those games close enough that they are still within their grasp. Stormers have blown 2 scoring opportunities in the last 10 minutes, and Horn kicks it in behind. This is the chance. It's knocked back. Beautifully cleaned up. Lillian Zuss goes across to Clayton Blumekes, who decides he wants to have a bit of a run forward. Off to Ivan Ruiz. Tackled there. The replacement number 18. Big attacking run. This is another chance for the Stormers that they have now unfortunately blown with the knock-on. They had about a 6-on-2 overlap and they just threw the ball into the ground. The pressure is not making the diamond here for the Stormers. Watch this whole career. A great mix of traditional 10 and more modern line pressing 10, says Jimbo. Oh, that's head on head though. So Sordoni is going to end up penalised, ladies and gents. So this game might not be completely over. It has to be a yellow card, like they've said. It's probably going to be at least yellow. Yeah, that's a... Johan Nederland Fouché is saying, why isn't that a yellow card for head-on-head contact? Wow. We've seen more than that given in terms of cards throughout this Rugby World Cup. That has just been a shoulder charge on Russ, and also, like I said, Bok hangover affecting Western Bromwich and the Sharks. Is there no TMO in this game? There is, I think, but it's actually... No, actually, I might be wrong there. I think the referee has to go over and have a look at it. Now, Clayton Blumekes has to make sure that this kick goes into touch, and he's blown it. Hasn't found the touchline. The Stormers at the moment are their own worst enemy, because every time that they have a chance of getting back into the game, they absolutely mess it up. The best way of describing it, it should have been a yellow for that haircut. It's a bit rough, isn't it? But now what a Clunt at the back to cover this one. Stormers have to run this ball, looking for the pass. Oh, another handling error. But it hasn't ended up with them dropping the ball completely. It was able to regather. And also really good to see you all after the World Cup aftermath, so the world keeps on spinning. Now Brock Harris, his first touch of the game. They have been told to use it. They are inside of their own 22, and Clayton Blumekes now has to look for that touchline, has done just that. Also, just saying you having withdrawal symptoms and need your fix of this amazingly interactive chat, so maybe refs getting revenge, conspiracy theorists. Storm is just bad, yeah. They just haven't played well enough to deserve to win in this contest, and I think Glasgow will be slightly disappointed that they haven't scored any points throughout the second half. So far, we've had 30 minutes of no points scored. Same can be said about that Osprey-Sharks game, so quick start from all the teams and then just more methodical build of their second half. There's going to be an advantage this time for Glasgow for the sack being illegal. Backline movement, knock on there. They will go back for the penalty though in favour of Glasgow. The players haven't heard the whistle. The crowd are cheering, and now they have to go back. Kyle Rowe was all excited, thinking that he had his chance to score. Sacking the lifter is going to be the penalty. How bad the TMO was at the World Cup. I only have to type CH. My phone prompts chick chick bang, says Jimbo there. And of course, anyone who wants to get some, I guess, slightly limited edition Kiwi Lads Chick Chick Bang merch, it is the second link in the pinned comment. Be sure to check that out. We have got the hoodies, the mugs, everything with Chick Chick Bang on it, especially for that World Cup, and also some Kiwi Lads merchandise there as well. As Stormers, our ref is sus, says Dominique, and I was only a little. Like I said, I'll keep an eye. Rugby if we won. Says cool story, bro. It looks like there's a bit of an injury here for Sasha Umezulu. That looks like the lower, maybe the Achilles region of his leg. Definitely lower right leg. Okay, there's just a little bit of a description going on from the referee telling the Stormers why he penalised them. Now 10 minutes remaining. The final 10 minutes, the important time of this match for Glasgow as they look to continue being aggressive. They've got the penalty. And I believe they will kick this for the corner so that they can try and find that last try that they are after. That's a big yawn, isn't it? I will mention the sun has gone away. Unfortunately here. It looked like it was going to be a sunny day. We've only got about 2 hours until I have to head down to the cricket, which I am going to be playing in. So hopefully it is going to be all right, though, and we don't end up with too much rain. Also, we're going to, I remember you making that pledge. Now the URC are going to keep us entertained for a while. Says Denzel. For the corner. It's a fantastic kick. Now about 10 metres out from the line. Hamish, I saw a clip of a rugby game where a player kicked the ball out thinking the game was over. But he heard a train that stopped and not the ending siren. The other team ended up scoring and won. Well, that was pretty brutal for him, isn't it? In that regard. Was it old school game or slightly newer one? Not everyday cultist. Now Johnny Matthews on that ball in. Trying to defend this one. The Stormers. Matthews already has 2 tries throughout this rugby matchup. We have got their end score 25-9. Says Steve. Now Horn goes off to Sione Tuipalotu. He has also scored a try for the Glasgow Warriors in this contest. They are looking for their 4th, though, to get the bonus point win over the Stormers. It would be a massive statement that we were able to do so. Score does seem like it's stuck at the moment on 61, but hopefully does update itself soon. Now Daj driving backwards here. Sordoni, 10 metres from the line. The Stormers can find some sort of intercept. That's a knock on. It's half the chance. Where did the Kiwi lads start? The other lads are never live. They pull along hours by yourself, says Xander. So the Kiwi lads started back at about 2020, and we were doing gaming videos and whatnot. But there are 4 of us. I've been on the channel, of course, a lot more than the other lads, but we've still got the Kiwi Lads Entertainment channel, which has George on it quite a bit. And those are actually videos that he edits. I think this game was actually a professional game. Wasn't too long. Might be worth a look up on YouTube, although I forgot who was playing, etc. Says not everyday cultist. And also Stormers adjusting to the cold, says Dominique. And there as well. Now Andre Hugo Fenta. He will be going head-to-head with none other than Henko Fenta for the Glasgow Warriors. But Vailanu, the man who has been taken off the field there. Stormers need to find some sort of points in the very near future. It's early days. Stormers top of the log, 2 out of 2, says Dominique. Although with a win here for Glasgow, if they score one more try, they will actually be sitting top of the bunch after the first 2 rounds. Ball is fed in by Stephen Nkura. They can't really afford to wait too much longer before they start attacking. Ball is out the side. We had too much movement, the referee says. Stormers once have Skog Berger playing with them. Says Gus. Now a little bit more push and shove there. Evan Ruiz Cannot afford to get frustrated now, or else he could find himself once again going to the bin. Better height is needed, says the referee. The scoreline still has not changed in the other matchup, sitting 19 points to 5. We've got there too late for the Stormers now, says Xander. Tackles made 106 from the Stormers here. I still consider $26 underdogs. You need a nap, says Dominic. I mean, I had my nap before this live stream, although that was considered my sleep. It's just I didn't get to sleep for very long. Big run here for the Stormers. Short ball. They moved up 40 metres out the line. Massive shot from Sione Tuipulotu. Now Nkura going back across again. Got a long way to go to the try line, but they have not given up as of yet. Big run from Nkuboka. Now up to the halfway line. Nkura goes across the Blomekis, who tries to kick him behind. He kicks it out on the full. That was really, really weird that he tried that rather than going with any sort of attacking play. Blomekis disappointed in how many people yawned to, says Robert there. It's called Berger is a Stormers legend. His father was also played for the Western Province. It's the Warriors' third game though, says Jimbo. This is the Stormers' third match too, as well, I should mention. But yeah, they will have that little bit of a jump over the sides that are playing later in this round. So there are still a lot of sides that can go above them. Now, nice work, oh balls, says it was Grant again. Rolling ball here, trying to keep that ball in. Rolling ball, not able to do so. George Horn going back across, big run there. Now off to the right-hand side, looking for the kick in behind. Found the space. Brilliant kick. It is not a 50-22 as he was inside of the half, but great kick downfield. And I wish I'd only be following the Stormers game because I'm in Cape Town. And pray they raise the bar, says Denzel. What the hell is up with this team tonight? I'm not even upset anymore. It's just starting to get funny. Says not everyday cultures. Yeah, anything that could have gone wrong for them pretty much has in this match, to be honest. Like, they've made handling errors. They've given away way too many penalties. I think the penalty count is about 11 against the Stormers, 9 against Glasgow. They've now overthrown their lineup, picked up by Evan Ruiz, though, so they've got their penalty, or sorry, their knock-on advantage. Listen from South Africa. Hi, says Simo, welcome in, mate. God, doing extremely well. The Stormers, they've got 4 minutes to work, 4 minutes to score a try, and it looks like Nkura is just going to kick it down the field. This bet does not taste as good tonight. Behind, Lillian Zas getting after it. Cancellieri doesn't line the ball up, but Horn does take it. Now 50-22 attempt could be on the cards here for Rowe, but he runs sideways instead. Has actually slipped over. There's an advantage this time for the knock-on. Now on the halfway line, another chance for the Stormers. They're not playing their own game. They look out of place a bit, says Dominic. And I have to say, throughout the second half, like, Glasgow have given the Stormers chances to be able to get back into the contest, but just haven't been able to. And knock on the ground from Kyle Rowe. Almost scored the try earlier on in the game. Ish, says Dominic. Right. Stormers now, if they give away a penalty of any sort here, I would say that this game will be long gone for them. But if they can somehow score a try, they still have time to theoretically get back into this contest. And it's not a lot of time, of course. Must be a long flight, says Dominique. And there as well, and weather has been cold, wet and miserable this way. Big push there from Glasgow, but the Stormers now going across, another knock on. Mistake after mistake after mistake. It's almost got to the stage like not everyday cultures mentioned. It's almost got comedic at this stage with the errors that are falling back to back to back to back. Glasgow winger dropped that ball because he was surprised how poor their tackle from Davids was. Says granted, New Zealand lost against South Africa in the cricket too. India, South Africa, New Zealand, Australia are the best 4 teams, says Xander. Now Fraser, he is onto the field. That is for Matthews. He's already scored himself 2 tries throughout this game. Should mention, Ospreys have actually got the first chance of scoring points in the second half, and they've missed it. So that score in that game still remains in favour of the Ospreys. Dobie onto the field. That is going to be for George Horn. Now the Stormers, they need a big scrum. Like, at the end of the day, they want to try and get themselves within the 7 points. Home ground advantage means absolutely everything in the URC. The differences in conditions is huge. The flights are less practice days than the home team, etc., etc. So he's not your everyday cultist. Hamish's mum will be very disappointed with how the performance of her favourite team has been. Yeah, she'll not be happy. I'll say they didn't score any tries, so she'll probably say not worth watching then. But she might, I don't know, we might have her on for the England versus New Zealand game if we do get to cover it later on tonight, just because it is the women's rugby side of things. And fun fact, my mum is a woman, so it would make sense. Now Vermaak has come back out onto the field. 2 minutes remaining. Is there still enough time for the Stormers? It's getting pretty tight. Like, theoretically, yes. Like, if they were to score an interception try here, like a quick tap and go, like, they might have time for one more kickoff. But the big thing for the Stormers now is they're pretty much giving this game away, so they've got to score some form of points to get within 7. Even if that is a try in the 85th minute, like, that extra point could be crucial. Like we've said, home field advantage. Are we glad your mum's a woman? Says Dominique. It looks like Uncle Boca actually going off the field with some sort of arm injury here, so that is a shame for him, seeing as he's only recently made his way onto the field. I think that's our first real injury in this contest, though. Maybe we could just score or try and get 1 point on the log. I can relate with Hamish's mum because these are our boys. I watched the space. I believe they will bounce back. And also picked up a sideline of a netball game. Or picked up at sideline of a netball game, says France. But, at the pub, I think it was. If I'm not wrong. The Sharks losing 5-19 against the Ospreys. They are as well. And only 4 minutes remaining in that contest. And true, Culture's Irish teams were terrible in South Africa first season. Exhausted early and kicking well off, says Jimbo. But the ball is fed in by Horn. Big push from the Stormers, but the ball is still there for Glasgow, who are chasing that bonus point. And they do want nothing less than the bonus point victory here. Now, I'm going to sell the dummy. 40 metres from the line. We're on the log. It's the Stormers. They were top of the bunch. At the end of this game, though, they will be second, more than likely. Although it depends on if Glasgow can score one more try in the final minute of this contest. Like I said, the game looks safe for Glasgow, so there shouldn't be any concerns there. But this is the current table as we sit. So Ospreys will get a big boost in their win over the Sharks, and then also a big boost for Glasgow in their win over the Stormers. Now short ball, looking for the offload, another knock on. It's 40 seconds. And there will now be another one. Top 10 out of 10 points. Says a Jimbo there. Another scrum for the Stormers. Kyle Steyn out with injury, like they've said. That is a big hit for the Glasgow Warriors. See that Sale Sharks are going all right in the Premiership as well. Compared to Gloucester. Very similar to the Stormers, have not scored a point. Or haven't scored a try throughout their game. And that is the 80-minute siren we have heard. This determines, will there be a point for the Stormers, or will there instead be a Glasgow bonus point on the cards, or do they just kick that ball in touch and say you haven't been able to get the extra points? Now, quick tap taken by the Stormers due to the pre-engagement from the Glasgow Warriors. Again, Bulls is my favourite team, says Xander. I believe they are going to be playing tomorrow, aren't they? The Bulls. They aren't able to go for the turnover there. There is no way, though, for Glasgow to lose this game. It's just whether or not they can walk away with 5 points, 4 points, or perhaps the Stormers can walk away with 1 point on the board. Now, Blomakis. Tackle, knee on the ground. They do have to release him. Now off to the right. Little pop pass attempted there by Blomakis. Ball is stripped away. It will be the penalty, though, for the Stormers. As the player was on the ground with his knee. Now, they have the decision to make. I believe they will kick this one for touch once more. Another big yawn, wasn't it? Like I said, hopefully I don't fall asleep on the cricket field today. Now, 81.5 minutes through. Now, I said if the Stormers scored in 85 minutes, it would still be a crucial try, as it would cut down on the chance. And, yeah, increase their chances of being able to get those few more points. Here we go. Line out throw from Andre Hugo Fenter. It might end up being a penalty advantage. No, in fact, it is going to be play on now. Breaking off the back. Hugo Fenter up to 22 metres from the line. The only thing that would make comedic sense in this case for the Stormers would be to drop the ball at the end of this game. But I'm hoping they don't. I'm hoping they are able to bulldoze their way just a little bit further forward. Andre Hugo Fenter was the man who started the move and looks like he's got that ball once more. URC yawns equals Rugby World Cup sneezes, says Fran Smith. Maybe. I think I've been very lucky with the fact that I haven't been sneezing on this live stream. Of course, I don't want to jinx it, but so far I don't think we've sneezed at all. And Kura now going off to the right, collecting Blomikis. Sordoni makes the tackle. Now Glasgow pride themselves on their defence, so they will not want the Stormers to slip through. I've had many penalty opportunities in the second half. We would be... where would we have been if we had taken them? Sometimes you got to play England rugby. Now short ball, big shot again on Marcel Tennyson. 10 metres from the line. Lillian Zas selling the dummy. Eva Ruiz knocks the ball on. And that will be the end of the game. The Glasgow Warriors keep the Stormers tryless. 20 points to 19. Coughing for the Six Nations. Maybe by February. Who knows? Maybe we get a bit of a cold at the start of the comp. But yeah, what other... Well, I mean, there's a few other things you can do, isn't there? In terms of making noises from the body. But 20 points to 9. They got the job done. They didn't get themselves the bonus point. Well, that was awful, says Grant. I agree. Not a good performance from the Stormers. Second half, we didn't see a single point scored between these two sides. Ivan Ruiz concludes an absolutely shocking performance from him. Says not everyday cultists, and Stormers will fight to remain on top, just like our Springboks. Everyone has a bad day at the block and then come back stronger. So watch this space, says Denzel. And of course, we are going to be covering plenty more of the URC on the channel, so we will indeed watch that space and see how they go in their future games. But I do thank you all very much for tuning into this live stream. It has been a lot of fun. Tomorrow we have got the game taking place between Wales and the Barbarians, so be sure to give that a look. Alongside that, depending on schedules, the other games that we could possibly be doing are taking place tomorrow morning, South African time. That will be either the match taking place, hopefully, between New Zealand and Australia in the Rugby League, or the other option that we might have is England versus New Zealand for the women's rugby. That is all dependent on whether or not I am playing cricket, though, because if I am playing, there will be a chance that I won't actually be home in time for either of those games. So, and we'll see how we go in that regard. But I do thank you all very much for tuning into this video. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Keep an eye on the channel. We've got a few other videos coming out in the near future as well. But I will see you all for the next one.